Hello, everyone. Diana Rankin here. So good to see all of you again. It's a very white Friday afternoon where I am, lots of snow. But compared to other parts of the country and the world, not that much snow. We're just having a few inches, but it's very white and beautiful, really, just cold. So, got the winter sweaters out. So, Piper's right here beside me, and we'll put her sweater on later and take her out for a walk. Our questions today have to do with is the earth or human beings in jeopardy? Hello, Akila. So good to see you. And I imagine it's a bit warmer where you are down in Georgia area, down in the southern part of the U.S. And except there are mountains in Georgia and they get snow, but I don't think you're up in the mountains. So glad to see you. I always look over here because the bigger screen is over here and it's much easier for me to see. Adrienne, hello. She says, will we tilt in our lifetime? I'm not sure what tilt means, but hopefully we'll answer that when we have a series of questions here, but it all has to do with is the earth in jeopardy? Are humans in jeopardy? And we will take a look at that. And Phillip, my spirit guide, will answer those questions. And like I say, there are like 5 or 6 questions here that we will get answers to. We will also get our message for the week, which, as you know, is just an oracle book. It's the Master's Book of Answers by Phillip. And each day, I always ask Phillip, what is your wisdom for me? Flip through and get my wisdom for that day. So that's always good to have nearby, but it's not a book you sit and read from cover to cover. Won't make sense. Tilting of the earth. Will we tilt in our lifetime? Okay, I'm sorry. My eyes, I'm having a little trouble with my eyes today. I don't know why, but forgive me. I could not quite read that. That's not really addressed here. So I just want to say we are tilting. We have already tilt. And I want to also say, and science explains that a lot better than I do, how much, but we do tilt a little bit. I guess every so many years or something. And we have recently tilted within the last, I don't know, 5, 6 years. I'm not sure right offhand. Hello, Juliet. She says, hello, everyone. Good to see you, Diana. Good to see you, Juliet. And again, I apologize. I'm having a little trouble with the one eye today to read. I don't know, maybe I could read better. No, not necessarily. So here we go. What we are going to talk about, and it won't exactly address tilting, but I think you're going to get your answer to what you're looking like. And she says, thank you from Sebastian, Florida. Oh, it's a lot warmer there, but it's cold for you guys. It's not as warm as it normally is, I understand, from my friends in Florida. So we're going to, but you don't have snow. And for those who, 60 degrees, that's kind of chilly for down there. Burr. Anyway, here we go. We should all stay warm and safe. So here's our question. Adrian says, yep. We're talking about the strength of the planet. And the question is Earth in jeopardy of extinction? And Phillip says, the world will not fall apart soon. This is a much stronger planet than many have stated. Yes, she must be cared for and nurtured, but she is not in any danger of being destroyed. Humankind is in more danger than the planet. This is because of the immortal soul. For all humankind, there is one soul, just as there is one soul for other life species. Within each one soul are the divisions and hierarchy of souls. The master souls, which can be more than body, and the individual souls, the great and vast majority of people. The one soul of humans is a part of greater soul. This greater soul holds all souls of all species from your planet and species from other planets. This is why it is so easy for you to planet hop and even species hop from one life experience to another. This is the way of the universal expansion that continues to expand and feed on its own. Your experiences here come from a variety of experience of other planets and within other corners of the universe. This is why the thoughts of so many are so different. It is not so different from the different countries up on this planet or even different families within a city block of one neighborhood. Boy, I don't know, Philip, it sure feels different, doesn't it? You know, earlier today, I was, shouldn't do this while you eat, but I was eating and I was scrolling on Twitter, or now called X. Anyway, and I saw a video of several people being, and there's more, by the way. I'm taking a little break here from what Philip has to say. But I was reading, it was somebody, a reporter went off and asked different people, what was the Civil War in the US about? And nobody, and this is heartbreaking, nobody said slavery. Nobody. And I thought, do they not know? Or are we rewriting history so much? I used to be an editor in the textbook industry, and I did see where certain states, Texas among them, had a lot of influence, and it had to do with money. And I kept saying, we're dumbing down education. Honestly, I hope we didn't dummy it down that far, because the U.S. Civil War was about slavery, the ending of slavery, hopefully. And we've still been trying to do that, haven't we? The next question, and we're going to, I see your question, Pegasus, and we're going to, or your comment, and we'll come back to that. But I just wanted to say, when Phillip says that it is not so different from the different countries upon this planet, or even different families within a city block of one neighborhood, feels very different to me, but I'm a human. The next question is, what is our purpose here in this time on this planet? And Phillip says, to carry this one soul of humans to its next evolutionary level. As you do so, another species will be created upon the soil you now walk. Okay. Question, will this species be human? Phillip says, perhaps I should explain. As humans develop to an evolved human species, within their footprints will be another one soul species being created. This new creation will evolve and develop into yet another species that will have human tendencies and yet be its own species within its own one soul or greater soul. And then the comment, the question was, like the God behind the God? Phillip says, precisely. Question, for what purpose? Phillip says, it is its own purpose. Question, is there an end? Phillip says, not that one life as you know it, even as the human greater souls know it will cease, but other life species will always continue to form without beginning or end. So what Phillip is saying here, sometimes he's a little difficult. We have to translate for him. He's a little difficult to understand. And what he's basically saying is we are evolving. As a human species, we are evolving into another species. And, so we may not know ourselves as we are now, that we're changing. And I see this as, I see evolution as we lose the gender. And I'm seeing that in our society now, that we won't identify as male or female. We'll identify as people and as whatever the species that we're evolving into, whatever that species is, we'll identify as that. I don't think we're in danger of that happening tomorrow, but I do see evolution takes years, thousands of years. And so what Phillip is saying is Earth will survive, but people will evolve into something else, into a higher dimension, really. Okay, Pegasus says it was Nikki Haley that avoided using the word slavery as a reason for the Civil War. Yes, it was Nick. She did. However, what I was talking about was a group of like a reporter going out and talking to a dozen people and asking a dozen just people off the street what the Civil War was about. And unfortunately, Nikki Haley, who is running for the Republican nomination for President of the United States, refused to use the word slavery in that. I'm sorry. That bothers me. Androgynous. Yes, Adrian says androgynous. Yes, I do think that's what we are eventually evolving into. We're not there yet, and I don't think we'll see it in my lifetime, but I'm seeing the beginning of that evolutionary shift. And personally, I've seen some shifts in my lifetime. I think we all have. I mean, I'm 78. I've lived a long time. So I am seeing, I always say the pendulum swings this way too hard before it does this before it finally settles down. And what we're seeing now is a big shift. And Pegasus says, I see it already in my trans niece, yes, who lives with me instead of her own father, a Republican judgmental person, good cook. I hope your niece is the one who's the good cook and she cooks well for you. Thank you. And thank you for taking her in and loving her for who she is. And hopefully her father loves her and will grow. As souls, you've heard me say it before, we choose our parents for a reason. And sometimes it's to teach them. Let's get our message for the week, shall we? And we just kind of open up to wherever. I'm not sure this is the right page, so we may do this again. It doesn't feel real good, but what I'm vaguely hearing is left and then right. So we'll read the messages and find out if I opened to the right page. What I want to say, though, is if you heard left, our intuition's in sync. If you heard right, you need to listen to that message. So here we are with left. You create enemies by believing enemies exist. That's page 234. You create enemies by believing enemies exist. And on page 235, when you dwell in darkness, it is hard to see the light. When you dwell in darkness, it is hard to see the light. And I think those are our messages, but I feel there's a stronger message as well. So I flipped through again, and I'm hearing right on this one. So again, if you heard right on this one, we're in sync. On page 77, without determination, dreams remain dreams. Without determination, dreams remain dreams. And I think maybe we needed all of these messages this week because we are evolving, and we are evolving thanks to each of you into a place of greater love. Let me read the second. 76. Solitude is the wellspring of creativity. Solitude is the wellspring of creativity. Well, years ago, doesn't matter. Years ago, yesterday, we cut back on the population either through pandemics, plagues, and wars. And we have seen both in the last few years. We've seen the COVID pandemic that took a lot of lives. And we're seeing wars, Ukraine, Israel, and Gaza. It quells the population, unfortunately. Or fortunately, because the earth will always create something that gives her the advantage. And that's what Phillip is saying here. I keep Pegasus, I'm sorry. I'm going to come back to you real quickly here. Yes, Camilla Campbell is the great cook at only 22. College is in Idaho instead of Louisiana has been helpful. Good. Thank you for being there for her. Thank you. And I bet she is a great cook. Coming from Louisiana, they have some really good food down there if you like Cajun food. I haven't been to Louisiana in years. I just do remember some of the good food. Anyway, we are evolving, and we have made that shift into a place of greater love. That's the feminine energy. You know, we divide that energy, masculine, feminine. The brain, right brain is the feminine energy. Left side is the masculine energy, and it crosses over in the body. So you can increase the feminine energy if you want. If you're feeling you need to be more creative, you know, just by doing exercises with the left side of the body. Now, all of that said, years ago, when I studied back in the 1990s with Jean Houston, who a great, great teacher, probably one of the brightest human beings who ever lived. And Jean at that time kept telling us the feminine energy is starting to rise. Well, this is what we're seeing, so much of this pushback against that feminine energy, which is the creative energy, which is the loving energy, which is the moving forward energy, which is the receiving energy. Now, that's not to say women and men, because we all need that balance of both the masculine and feminine energy. We need the balance. And so, but women do, generally speaking, tend to hold a little more of the feminine energy. And the men, excuse me, a little bit more of the masculine energy. But again, we need the balance. So yes, as we move into the I'm sorry, here, androgynous, thank you, androgynous, as we start moving into that, where we have that greater balance, because we don't think of feminine and masculine as much as the balance of both in the androgynous world that we're moving into. So there's greater love there, but there's also the very practicality of being able to do the taxes or whatever. What we're moving into as human beings, and each of you are doing this, we're masters in training, in a sense, that we're moving into a world of greater love. And, you know, this isn't easy work. This is very difficult. And I always tell people, you think the masters had it easy? Think about that. Think about Dr. Martin Luther King. Think about Jesus. Think about the Buddha. Think about the Gandhi. Think about Abraham Lincoln. Think about the really ones, those beings who think about the beings who made major differences in the world. And it just hit me, I haven't named a single woman. That is in part because it is the masculine energy that goes out, the feminine energy. That's not to say we don't have women leaders in the world, because that too has changed. And we've always had the goddess and the god in mythology, in history, and modern history has taken away the goddess. Well, the goddess is returning. And as she returns, there's a lot of rebellion against her. That's all right, because, my friends, she has returned. And as the goddess returns, what we're finding is, even though there's a rebellion against her, she shall overcome. And we will have that balance of the masculine and feminine energies. And I think that's what we're evolving into a world of greater love. Thank you for the love that you receive from us. Thank you for the love that you pass out to the world. And yes, Piper is here with me. She's right at my side here instead of being back in her bed. And you can't really see her. She's right down here. Thank you for the love that you send to us. We are so grateful. Be safe, even if it's 60-degree weather. And I'm staying inside. Well, we're going out for a walk shortly, but walk, not car. I love you all. Thank you for being here with us today. Pegasus says, thank you, Diana. Stay warm. You bet. I am so blessed. I've got some nice winter sweaters here, all warm. And yesterday I was able to take some clothes that I've outgrown a little bit, but some warm jackets and sweaters and hoodies and the outdoor gear out to our caring kitchen, which is nearby, and that's the homeless shelter, and they do a good job of helping people. So if you have homeless shelters where you are, and not today if you're in the bad weather, but gather those things. And I try to go once a month, if at all possible, or wherever it is that you can take things that you're done with. I love you, my friends. Thank you so much for passing along the love. And thank you for being here, holding us in the energy. Love you. See you soon. Bye.